Hi everyone, Grey Power 60 here. So welcome to Tea with Me Tuesday. I just put it over here. Don't spill it, don't spill it. I hope you have your beverage, cup of tea, cup of coffee, some drink, whatever you have, your beverage of choice. And let's talk about the week. So I have been trying to get off the pills that I have because I've been on them. It's going on a year and a half. Gosh, yeah, a year and a half. And they were to help with my anxiety and help with all of this other stuff. Sorry about my hair, my bangs. I cut them, but they're still too long. Squirrel. Anyway, I talked to the pharmacist. I talked to my doctor about it. And so I tried to go off it this weekend. And of course, I had a horrible weekend because I just feel so sick when I try and go off them. I'm nervous, I'm nauseous, I want to sleep, whatever. It's just, my body is telling me don't go off them that quickly. So the pharmacist suggested, I cut them. They're so tiny, but I have a razor and I cut them in half and I cut a few in quarters. So what I'm going to try and do is one day, like yesterday, I didn't take any at all. Saturday. Saturday, I didn't take any at all. Sunday, I took a half of one. And Monday, I took a half of one. Today, I took a quarter of one. Well, actually, it's not. No, it's a half of one. Tomorrow morning, when you're seeing this, I'm going to take a quarter of one, and then I'm going to take a quarter of one, and then I'm going to go back to half of one, and then try and cut it back, and then try and skip a day, because I can always just stay home and, stay in my jammies all day and, do whatever. But we have a busy week coming up, a busy weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're going to be very busy. This weekend coming up is Canada's Thanksgiving, where we celebrate giving thanks for everything that we have, our beautiful country. And of course, this comes just before our federal election, where we're going to be voting on whether or not we're going to have a new prime minister. And I have fears because I know I don't usually talk politics. Well, I talk stuff, my own personal opinion. I don't usually talk politics, but there are a few candidates, and I think there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 candidates vying for our vote, and one I am terrified. Two are completely out of the picture. I don't even think they get enough votes. So 2 of them. So now we're down to 4. One of the 4, I am terrified if that person becomes prime minister. The other 3 are interesting. A lot of people in our country do not like our prime minister. I like him, but that's my opinion. But more importantly, in our country, it's not the person you vote for, it's the party. I don't know if that's like that in the States or not. So it doesn't matter who the leader is. We've got 4 parties, but 3 of them are main parties. We've got the Liberals, we've got the Conservatives, we've got the New Democrats, and right now we have the Green Party that is quite popular right now. And of course, that's with climate change and doing things and being more active and so on and so forth. And that's fine. But you have to look at their platform, not what they're running on. What does their party stand for? I was talking to a young fellow in the lineup, and he was talking to the lady in front of me, and he was a young man just straight out of high school, and he asked about the election to the girl in front, and I think he does this to a few people just to get some ideas. So my final thought to him after we talked, and I said, well, everybody has their own preferences, you've got to think about, but I said, look at the party and all of what they stand for. And by looking at, I wasn't even going to talk politics. Oh my God. What do you believe in? Now, let's give you an example, okay? One party could be I'm trying to be polite, okay. One party could stand for grizzly bears. One could stand for cougars, and the other could stand for horses, okay. Now, if you hate horses and you hate grizzly bears, you're going to vote for cougars. Now, if the grizzly bear also has a monopoly on honey, and they do not want anyone to buy honey, and you love honey, are you going to vote for them, or are you going to vote for the cougar who wants you to have honey but will not allow you to camp in the forest? Then you've got your horses that you can ride, you can buy honey, you can camp in the forest, but you've got to give half of your money to taxes. You've got to, you're only allowed to be outside riding the horse until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So that, I know these are totally ridiculous. They don't stand for anything. I'm just giving you some ideas of 3 separate parties. So if you want to be out late at night, then the horse is no good. If you want to go camping, if you want to buy honey, then the grizzlies are no good. Then you'd vote for the cougars. So, but you have to think of your own personal morals, your own personal, and you have to look at that. You also look at the man, but you really have to decide which one stands for who you are. Are you a grizzly? Are you a cougar? Or are you a horse? And out of those things, of what they stand for, the horse doesn't like kids, but you can ride, whatever. You know what I'm saying. One of them, anyway. And the other thing, so what I told the young fellow was, look at the policies of the party. Go online, Google each party and what they stand for and which one is closest to yours. Then the next thing is, if you're strong one way or another in the States, if you're a Democrat or a Republican, what you believe in, look at your local person. Now in the States, I don't know. So here in Canada, then you've got to look at your local candidate. And what has he done for you? Now, if your party that you're voting for, that you believe in strongly, stands for all of the moral issues and so on that you believe in, but the person that's running under that party is a horrible guy. He doesn't do anything for you. He's blah, 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 whatever. But another candidate from a different party, he works hard, he's honest, he's visible, he does everything. Then you have a dilemma. You know, are you going to vote for the person that's doing all the work, or are you voting for the party? And that's the dilemma that a lot of people have. And I find the younger people, us older guys, and my parents, for instance, were staunch one party person. Doesn't matter who's running, that's what they believe in, and that's it. And I follow the same as my parents, except that I truly looked at each party. So, elections. So, you know, it's a very difficult decision to sit back and make that decision. And I find the younger people are not they're not looking at traditional values of the different parties. They're looking for answers. They're looking for honesty. They're looking for truth. They're looking for guidance. They're looking for a strong leader. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just hard to find. It's hard to find that perfect candidate. It's hard to find that perfect person. There is one of the candidates of the six, there is one, I like that person a lot. I like what they stand for. I like the work that that person has done, and that is the party leader. However, their party that he or she, because there is a she, represents, I'm iffy about. And I also, anyway, this is our dilemma. So we've got this Thanksgiving coming up, then we've got our election. I think it's the 21st, I'm not sure. So I am sorry I went on a tangent there about the election. But, you know, a lot of people sit back and say, why bother voting? It doesn't count. But it does count, and that's the thing. It does count. Every single vote counts. And I am so pleased with the younger people becoming more and more involved in the politics of the country, who's running the country, who represents them locally, who represents them in Parliament, and it's wonderful. I love that. Now, I grew up in the 60s. We're talking the love generation, anti-establishment. Nobody wanted to vote. Nobody cared who was in there. Everybody was evil. You know, not, I wasn't saying that, but the generation, you know, the generation of the hippies. You know, it's a totally different time. It's a totally different, when I was born in the 50s, of course I was a little girl, so I had no idea what was going on in life. The 50s was a very rough time for everyone. It was the beginning, you know, the Elvis was coming in, you know, the Jerry Lee Lewis and the, you know, before the Beatles weren't until the 60s. So we're talking in the 50s, you know, where you had people like, that actor, you're gonna tell me who he is. I can see his face. Was killed in a car accident very young. Was a bit of a rebel. Oh my God, isn't that awful? But anyway, but home life was still, mother was at home, her house, she looked after the home, while daddy went to work. It was a father knows best kind of years, and it was kind of that kind of life. So I was fortunate in having that kind of childhood where, you know, the imaginary families were kind of what we thought we all were, you know, and there was a lot of families not like that. But from my background and from my family, that was kind of the way it was at home. The difference is mom was not an at-home mom. My mom worked. My mom worked all my life. But my grandmother lived with us, and she was the woman of the house that did everything. And Mom was working, and Dad was working. Um, but still, the thought, the 50s style of, 40s and 50s, when moms and when the women, had to have a beautiful home and wear dresses and get made up every day and all this stuff. And then we flip to the 60s, all hell breaks loose, the Beatles come out, everybody goes crazy, the Rolling Stones, and then, all this heavy metal stuff and drugs and anti-establishment. And then there was also, during that crazy chaos, there was also the love child, the love kids, the hippies that wanted to get back to nature and wanted to be free and all of these wonderful things. And then you hit the 70s. And of course, the 70s is when I got married. I got married actually in 71. And then the 70s, I was in Europe for 3 years, so I didn't really see the transition of that. But for me, it was married life, traveling, being in Europe, being young and learning about the world, and working, and then eventually having my daughter, and then having my son in 80, and then the 80s, 90s the 80s, I got divorced, for 13 years after we were married, and then, so the whole voting thing for me went from, for me it was always an obligation. I always voted. I think I only didn't vote once, I think, because even when we were in, did we vote? No, I don't think we did when we were in Germany. No, I don't think there was an election then. I don't remember. Anyways, too long ago. But it's interesting how times have changed and how ideas have changed, and how I even noticed it before I retired. We call them the millennials, where they'll go and work in a job if they don't like what you're doing, and they'll ask you the craziest things that we wouldn't have dared asking, promotion-wise, raises, is it fun to work here? And if it's not fun, they leave. And that was a totally amazing thing for me to watch before I retired. If they weren't happy, they just left and went somewhere else. And now I don't know if that was Generation X or if it was the millennials. However, it could have been Generation X. I'm not sure. The one that, anyway. And I just found it fascinating. And I thought to myself, I would love to be able to go into a job and say to the boss, this is what I expect. What are you going to give me? And, for us, it was, oh my gosh, you'll even lie to get the job. You'll even lie to, well, in my day anyway, to be able to get the job that you just want to work. You want a job. And that was it, and you wanted to stay there, and you didn't want to do anything to disrupt the employer. And the kids today, it's like, it's not fun, I'm leaving. And you know what? That's not a bad idea. I mean, I think there has to be a little bit of a balance, but I think they got the right idea. I think that is wonderful. So getting back to all of this, what I was getting at was that what I love is the fact that they're more in tune with what's going on in the world, they're more in tune with, with the climate change, and with being more minimalistic, being more vegan, being more, you know what I mean? I think being more in touch with themselves. And that's a good thing, We could learn some things from them. Now, there's a lot of things I don't like, but there's a lot of stuff we could learn from the young people. They've got the right idea, and good for them. And I'm really proud of them. I'm proud of this generation, and I'm curious to see what will happen in the next 20 years. If I live that long, I would love to see how this generation copes as it goes through, because once they hit their 30s and 40s, then there's serious business going on, because either their children are now at the age they are, or the circle of life. So I'll be really curious anyway to see. I am babbling on about everything, but it's just so many things going on, and I find things fascinating. And I guess what brought this up is, as you know, I always film the night before, so that you have your tea with me Tuesday, which my tea is getting cold. But tonight we had the first English debate for all of the candidates on TV. I don't even know how long it was on for, but I listened to the whole thing. It's almost cold. And I love listening to them. I think it shows their personality. I think it shows whether or not they're intelligent. It shows whether or not they are willing to stick to the issues and not do that backstabbing stuff that people like to do when they're campaigning. And I hate those things. I hate the trashing the other, they did this wrong, and they're this, and they're stupid, and they're whatever. So vote for me because I'm better. I put your policies, what your plans are. If you're going to do an ad, tell me who you are. Tell me what you're going to do to make my life better. Don't trash the other guy. Who cares? You're all bad. You know what I mean? So anyway, so we've got a big election coming up, and I'm rather interested to see what's going to happen. And like I said, we have our Thanksgiving. So Friday, Mom's got to get her, getting off the subject, I go all over the place. Mom's got her appointment to get her earpiece. She had a mold made for her hearing aid, and I think it's going to really help with her hearing. I'm going to bring both pieces in, because the other one that they gave us is kind of, I don't know, maybe I got to know what some of the buttons are, and I want her to explain to me. So we're going to do that on Friday. Saturday, my daughter is going to Toronto with her girlfriend, on Thursday night, and coming back Saturday night. The kids are off on Friday, and her husband's taking the day off, I believe. So anyway, she's going to this Harry Potter something or other. She's a Harry Potter fanatic. She just absolutely, she's read every book, everything, seen every movie, has so many stuff. She even has a picture of my grandson when he was two or three, dressed up, and oh my God, he looked exactly like Harry Potter. He had the Harry Potter glasses on. He had I could have swore it was like Harry Potter, but it's so cute. Anyway, that's her thing. That was her thing. And so she's going to be away. So Saturday, my grandson, the middle one, Connor, has boxing. He's really fascinated with boxing. So he's taking that up. And so I will be driving him to his lesson, because it's every Saturday. I think it's from 3 till 4. I got to check that with my daughter. 3 to 4. Sunday, there's no hockey because Monday is Thanksgiving. My daughter is working Sunday night, So she'll be coming back Saturday night, and then Sunday night she's working. She works overnight. She's a nurse, and she works overnight, so she'll be going to work from 7 to 7. So we're going to have Thanksgiving dinner on Monday, and that's when all the family gets together. Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve. Those are our two family get-togethers. I mean, we do get Easter too, because I like to spoil the kids. We also do that. But those are our big ones, I guess. Easter, Thanksgiving, and Christmas Eve. Those are our three big get-togethers for our family. And Mom's birthday is on the 20th. Mom will be 89, and she's not fussy on going out to dinner, because she doesn't eat as much anymore, unless it's a buffet. We could go to a buffet. Now, we went to the casino. It's called the Hard Rock Slots and Casino. Anyway, it's under construction in Rhoda. But anyway, and there's horse racing there. It used to be called Rideau Carleton Raceway. And they opened up, they had a flea market there on Sundays, which was fantastic. I used to love going. And I even sold there once. And they also have this fantastic restaurant buffet. It's a little pricey, but Mom and I went last week, and we had the best meal. It was buffet, which means it was huge. You could have, I mean, there was everything you could possibly want was there. And it cost it cost us $54 for the two of us. But when we go to the casino, we have a card. So every time we play, we put the card in, and it gains points. And there's sort of twofold. It's twofold. You gain points, which means you could use those to buy things in the food place. They've got a little bistro. They've also got this big restaurant, and they've also got a tuck shop, a place where they sell stuff. So you can use those points to buy things. And then the other part, every time you play with your card, the card is inserted in the machine, and it adds up money so that the next time you go, sometimes you have a little bit of money that you can play for free. So it's kind of like builds up little free play money. Anyway, so I used that. So it didn't cost us anything because I had, I had over 300 points, and it cost us 54. So it was like $300. I call it points. $300, I guess. I mean, you can't cash it in, but you can use it to buy things, is I guess what I'm saying. So I was thinking maybe we could do that, but it might be expensive for my daughter. So I thought maybe what we would do is have kind of a little party here. And maybe I could take Mom out after or before, or I don't know yet. But Mom enjoyed it. She really enjoyed it. And she does not like to go out to eat. She doesn't like going out to dinners because she doesn't enjoy it. But the buffet she really liked. So I'm humming and hawing, Excuse me. So I haven't talked to my daughter or my sister-in-law about it, or my son, but I might have enough points to buy Mom and I. So it's $25 each. So that's $100 for 4 of us and 4 more. So I could pretty well pay for the kids. I wonder if they are cheaper. I'll have to find out. I don't know. Next time we go, I'll find out. Anyway, sorry, I'm planning all this. I am totally babbling on, and it's 30 minutes. This is crazy. I had so much to talk about, and it was nothing to do with the election, but because I was watching TV, well, actually, I was listening. I was doing some crafts. I was videotaping something else, and I was listening to the debate, and that's how all the election thing came on. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining me. I hope you didn't mind my ranting on about politics and elections and things like that. But, it's just good to be aware of things and watching the young people, I mean, all young people do silly things. We did. And we have our ideals and we have our thoughts of how the world should be. And we all blame our parents for the state of the world. We all do it. I did it. My parents blamed their parents. I blame my parents. My children blame me, and their children will blame them. It's the circle of blame. But instead of blaming, let's get stuff done. Anyway, thanks for joining me today. I hope you didn't mind my rant. And if you're new to my channel, oh my gosh, go see the other videos because this one is crazy. Please leave me a comment what you think about the young people today and the whole idea about, if the job's not fun, I'm not staying, or if you don't give me what I want, instead of us going and saying, oh, I can do this and I can do this, and oh, believe me, I can do that. And then you have to prove yourself. The young people are different today. Anyway, thanks for joining me. We'll see you again soon. Bye for now.